Last time on Blood Summon's SoD Journey, we ventured back into Gnomeregan, conquering the mechanical menagerie and thermoplug, as well as spelunking into the sunken temple and defeating the corrupted dreamers and trolls within. This time we're on the last stretch to level 60, in which we can begin the gear grind needed to take down the Scarlet Enclave. Initially, I start back up in the Blasted Lands, but for those who haven't done this zone, it is quite possibly the most boring zone in all of Classic WoW. There's the Dark Portal, and that's it. The quests are just mindless kill and collect ones, which take an unbelievable amount of time to do. I tried to spend some time here just watching things on the second monitor, but it's just too much, and I decided to do a dungeon run of Maraudon instead, inviting my friend Voodoo, who's started playing SoD again recently too. We go in with a bit of a weird group, not really having a tank, but it's fine because this paladin basically solos the dungeon with this Shockedon build. We do almost wipe on these slimes though. That feels mandatory. I've also forgotten just how massive Maraudon is. It's a decent dungeon, but the sheer scale of this place is huge. We take down the bosses with ease, with the princess dropping this healing necklace, which is technically an upgrade for me, and I assume it increases the healing I get from things like Siphon and Drain Life, but I decide to pass on it since the Shockedon needs it. After that, we make a run back to the Satyr boss, which we missed, which drops me a nice belt, and then Rot Grip, dropping some pretty good shoulders too. Took a while, but it was worth it. At least for me. With the quest turned in, we also ding level 53. The next day, I decide to do another Sunken Temple run. It has a lot of really good loot and XP potential. We do my namesake and summon people, which takes a while, and then we get on to some bosses. Atalarian doesn't drop anything for us. On the way to the Festering Rot Slime, about half the raid accidentally pulls the boss early and they wipe, but they get given more world buffs afterwards, so it's not a huge loss. Yet the boss drops naught for us. After taking down the trolls, people don't move from the middle, which means that the boss spawns, and that actually wipes almost the whole raid. We begin to recuperate by rezzing and summoning on this raised platform. We almost get done, but then my imp Cusco body pulls the boss and we wipe from the green. Good grief. We attempt the boss properly afterwards, but I die from pulling aggro, and we wipe to I think a lack of damage. We try again once more after some more summons since quite a few left, and it takes ages due to lack of damage, but we get it down. No loot for our struggles though. Next is the 2 troll boss, which we start at 3:05 in the morning by the way. Most of the raid wipes around 3:09. A few more push on until about 3:20, 11 minutes later. And then the 60 tank keeps going until 3:27, when the boss is basically unkillable due to his shield regeneration. An over 20-minute attempt at this boss fight just to waste time, and the raid disbands. That really sucked. Calling it a night at 3:30 in the morning. After all that though, I head into Blackrock Depths, an endgame dungeon and a nice change of scenery. Endgame dungeons like BRD are good for us, as bosses level 54 and up drop this currency once a day called a Tarnished Undermined Reel. These can be traded in for endgame items, such as tier up to Blackwing Lair and some trinkets, rings and weapons. To end the smooth run, Thorazine also drops the very sought after Hand of Justice trinket, so congrats to our warrior. After that, I begin my Onyxia Attunement quest chain, but get interrupted by an invite to another BRD run. As I mentioned just before, the reels can only be obtained once a day, per boss, but it's still good for us to go in as it can provide significant upgrades to our gear and holds decent XP. After completing that run, I head back to my questing, but I decide to try again later, as these melee dragonkins hurt really bad, doing about half my health if they crit. So a while later, I start taking out these Fire God Ogres, but am once again interrupted by an invite to Blackrock Depths. This time, it's a prison break run with a couple bosses sprinkled in. Freeing Marshal Windsword like this is a part of the Alliance version of the Onyxia Attunement quest chain, so I'll have to do it again at some point, but I'm happy to help. A little bit later, I am back in the mountain yet again for a reels run, meaning we efficiently run the dungeon to maximize the amount of tarnished reels we get. Ending this run, we get yet another Hand of Justice. They must have increased the drop rates for these kind of rare items in Season of Discovery, because I know in regular Classic these can take ages to farm. We also get a very suave new monocle. At At this point, I'm in for another change of scenery as I head to the Plaguelands, taking on endless hordes of undead, particularly around Anderhall, which lore-wise is a pretty cool place. It was sort of a last stand bastion against the undead previously, but now it's a less than stellar questing location. Also, these temporal parasites have a chance of respawning after killing one, and I got about 8 respawns, I want to say. Good thing I'm not on hardcore. Overall, the Eastern Plaguelands are a decent questing spot though, and it gets me to level 57. As we head into the Western Plaguelands to begin the mass culling instructed by Tyrion, I get invited to a partial Strathhome run, which is all good by me. Loot and XP is loot and XP. If you didn't know, from Strathhome, this valuable item has a low chance of dropping called the Righteous Orb. These are used in all sorts of endgame crafting recipes, so are a high value item and sell for quite a bit on the auction house. Apparently one dropped before I joined the group. And this run drops us a whole 5 orbs, 1 for each member. That's insane. After the run, Blurred summons us back to the mob grinding quest for a little while, dinging level 58 while some very dramatic music is playing in the background. Once 58, I decide to head to Fellwood and Winterspring for some key quests, like a Warlock one which, if I do Sunken Temple again, could give me an upgrade to my robe, and a quest to attune to Demon Fall Canyon, a new dungeon added in Season of Discovery. On the way, I get asked to summon people for a Black Fathom Depths run, so I make my way there and summon people. They do offer gold, but I decide to decline out of kindness. It's what makes the world go round, you know? I then make my way through Fellwood and into Winterspring, and I wanted to say just how much I like snowy zones in World of Warcraft. Dunmoreau, Winterspring, like all of Northrend, it just hits a really cozy vibe. Makes me wish I lived in a place with snow, but in a desert country like this, it's pretty rare and only in select regions. After some Alkin and Yeti quests, I head back to the Plaguelands, finishing up the Tyrion quest, which gets me level 59, just 1 away from max level. Shortly after, Blurred Summons gets into a Scholomance dungeon run, a place which I've never been to in Classic before. We begin, and this tank is pulling maybe a little weirdly, randomly going AFK at times, and after like 3 pulls, he pulls way too big, we wipe, and he leaves, and then the group disbands. Bit of a weird first ever Scholomance, but we can go again. After some searching, we get into a really solid group, ready to full clear. Now this dungeon drops a lot of good gear, particularly caster gear, including multiple pieces of my dungeon set, which could be pretty big upgrades. From this one run, we get the Warlock belt, shoulders, and hands. And we finished it all up by doing a massive pull, and I ding level 60. I proceed back to Ironforge, buying the dungeon set Warlock wrists to finish up the Force set, and training all of my remaining skills, which does drain me a lot of gold, but I've still got some left over, so that's good. And yeah, that's Blurred Summons, finally at level 60. Super excited to get into the raids and more dungeon runs. I'm really feeling my power grow, and I can't wait to experience new things like taking down the Scarlet Enclave. Thank you very much for watching, especially right to the end. Like if you did, and subscribe for more.